What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, let's talk about Hogwarts Legacy. Obviously, not at Summer Game Fest, not at E3, okay? Some of those were more predictable than others, okay? Some of them, I fell into the trap, and I want to go over that as well. I want to make sure we're very, very clear on all the stuff that I've said in the past, but also, you know, a little disappointment, and obviously not seeing the game. I definitely resonate and understand people that think that. Over this past week, I mean, just nonstop, people have been asking me, right? So I know people have been wanting it. I also want to talk about when's the next time we might see this game. We're back to the normal stuff, so there will be videos every 4 or 5 days on Hogwarts Legacy. I actually have a really cool collaboration that I'm working on right now, kind of behind the scenes, with another Hogwarts Legacy creator, an amazing, amazing guy, and we won't spoil too much more about that, but we got some cool things planned. So those are all things you can look forward to, and then obviously when there's Hogwarts Legacy stuff that is brand new, I will be sure to cover it immediately, okay? If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know when all these Hogwarts Legacy videos go up. I try to have a playlist that I keep updated with Hogwarts Legacy stuff, that you can always check out that for all of the videos I've ever made. I think some are missing, and it's mainly because the YouTube way of handling those playlists is absolutely garbage, okay? So let's talk about disappointment first, all right? Look, I won't lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I really believed. Now, I'm going to walk you through, and I'm going to try and make it short because I don't think too many people maybe care about, my predictions and stuff like that. And I don't blame you considering I get some of them wrong. Okay, so leading into E3, when, in my opinion, I thought that WB Games was going to have a show, okay? And I will blame myself. At the same time, I do want to just blame E3 for a quick second, okay? Because the organization, the planning, the communication of E3 was the absolute worst I've ever seen in my life. They even told people they couldn't co-stream, E3 streams the day E3 started. The morning, actually 2 hours before is when they sent out that email. And that's also when they told people they could stream. So E3 is a joke. I've talked about that before. I will continue to talk about that. But, that's some of the things that I experienced, this year with E3. But the other thing was this. I mean, I'll blame myself for, just believing it, and I guess putting it out there for you guys, and then, some of you guys believed it. But I really think I had backing, mainly because we knew they were going to have a legit big showcase last year before that E3 was canceled. So when they were announced to go here to this E3, I thought, oh, they're going to have a showcase, a 30, 40-minute, whatever, presentation, and they'll show their games. It was only until, I would say, a week and a half before E3 started that they said, no, it's actually WB's Back for Blood that's going to be there. It's not WB Games. I mean, I know we said that, but, we're changing it. So, that literally happened a week and a half or around a week before E3 started, which was very upsetting. And I will say, from that point on, I obviously dropped the idea of Hogwarts Legacy being at E3, okay? Then it was, could it be at Summer Game Fest? And as we know for Jeff Keighley events, now look, I don't think Summer Game Fest was all that bad. I think it was actually kind of solid. I can see why a lot of people were disappointed, but he did show some pretty cool stuff in the beginning and end, okay? But to be fair to you guys and to, to address what we kind of already know, a lot of Jeff Keighley's shows end up falling flat to some people, right? People that are expecting things like Hogwarts Legacy and Gotham Knights were obviously let down quite a bit by his show because neither were there. So, that was something that I was hoping for, but I was never really expecting. I was really hoping / expecting more of that Lego Star Wars. I think it had a better chance. In my mind, it was okay, well, Lego Star Wars is smaller. It probably would stand out. So that is kind of the week we just had, right? The last week and a half. It's been rough. There's no doubt about it. We've gone through this before. So, before I talk about, and the second half of this video, I want to talk about when we are going to see it, when I think we will see it. But I do just want to give a positive message. I know so many people think of me as some negative person. It's laughable. It's laughable that people think that because they just don't actually pay attention. But I do want to say, as I've said before, the game's real. We know the game's real. We know the game's happening. While journalists want this game canceled, and they're all idiots and crybabies, the game is going to happen. We are going to have our celebration. Now, does that mean the game's going to be perfect or it's going to be a 10 out of 10? No, it could actually be bad. We don't really know. But we are going to have that moment, okay, in the light where the game's out, and we get to celebrate the fact that we actually get this freaking game, okay? There's no doubt about it. So we should, I've said that before for Gotham Knights. I've said it before for Hogwarts Legacy. To anybody and everybody that's disappointed in them right now, well, number one, they never said they were going. It's not Hogwarts Legacy's fault. It's not Avalanche Software's fault, right? The makers of it. You could either blame WB Games or you could blame, I would say, E3. That would be the biggest one I would actually blame because they were very misleading in how they worded who's going and the capacity to which they're going. Okay, they greatly they oversold it, I would say, or they just didn't communicate it well. So yeah, I think that's the best thing to kind of get through our heads is that we know the game's real. We've already won in that way. You know, I mean, we were banging the drum that the game was real for years before they announced it. You know, we've been in this kind of situation before, but a lot worse, and we've always, you know, made it out. So and that's some of that stuff may sound stupid or cliche, but I truly mean every word. Okay, now, as to when we were going to see it. Very important, right? When will we see Hogwarts Legacy? All right, I mean, there's a couple options. Let's go through them. And obviously, as we get closer to each of these, I will probably make a specific video talking about it. All right, the first one is a PlayStation event. Now, when I'm recording this, we don't have confirmation of when this is, or technically that it's even happening, but there very, very much is. Everybody kind of agrees Sony is going to have like a big E3, like Microsoft E3 level event, okay? A lot of people are saying in a few weeks, so maybe that last week of June going into July, like the 28th through the 2nd, okay? I pray that it's not on the 2nd. I also pray that it's not the week after that, like the week following 4th of July, for personal reasons, because I'm going to be traveling and visiting my family and all that stuff. We won't get too much into that. But anyway, that event, okay, could it be at that event, I should say? I really think it's possible. I'm not going to hold my breath for it, okay, just because, we don't want to be let down. But, because people have said, like, well, maybe Sony's got marketing rights to it. Now, that is very possible, okay? There was a lot of talk, and I think it's true, that Microsoft has marketing rights for Elden Ring. But for some reason, Elden Ring showed itself off at Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest. So, like, it's very odd. I don't know how marketing rights work. I'm not in the business like that, so I don't really know. But it is possible. It is possible Sony worked out a deal with them, with WB, or with, it has to be, it'd be with the publisher. So they worked out a deal, and they said, okay, we want to be the ones to kind of push your game. So we're, at our shows, at our things, we'll kind of show it off more. They very well could have done that. And it's been done with other games from Sony. It's been done with games from Microsoft. But again, it's weird because, like, people thought that with Microsoft and Elden Ring, and then Elden Ring went on its own. So that maybe disproves it, okay? But it is possible, I would say, that it's at Sony's event. It is. And if they want to do something really big, because like Microsoft at their E3, they had Back 4 Blood, which is not theirs, right? It's on Game Pass, but it's not theirs. Battlefield 2042, they basically just got the rights to be able to show off the gameplay trailer first. They got to do that exclusive reveal. That could very well be something Sony does with their own stuff, or, I guess their own Call of Duty, or, Hogwarts Legacy. So we'll have to see how that all works, but that's something to keep in mind. Gamescom is another one, another Jeff Keighley run event, by the way. It's a tough one because Gamescom is kind of big. It used to be a lot bigger. I feel, at least like in my memory, I used to always remember Gamescom being like, just because it followed E3, it still did do really well. Like, there were still actually some pretty big announcements that would happen at Gamescom. Maybe I made that up, although I really don't think so. But over the last couple years, it definitely has not been it's not been a replacement E3. It's not been like E3 like 0.5, like right after it. It's been pretty low. Now, I will say, based off my memory, last year's Gamescom, while it did disappoint some people, I think it did everything that I could have hoped for it. We did get announcements. We did get new reveals. We got updates on games. We got smaller games that interest some people, but not everybody. That was pretty much Gamescom last year. It was very much a Summer Game Fest, Game Awards kind of show, and Jeff Keighley runs it, so that's probably why, right? Does Hogwarts Legacy fit there? Honestly, no. So I will kind of say, it's obviously a possibility. We'll talk about it leading into it. I'll be watching Gamescom. We'll probably co-stream Gamescom. Like, I'm excited, but I don't feel good about that one. So really after that, it's then Game Awards. I don't want to spend too much time on this entire video, right? Game Awards is obviously a possibility, and Game Awards always has an opportunity. They really, because they do tend to disappoint, but they also do have quite a few big things that are revealed pretty much every year, okay? And it's just that if Hogwarts Legacy isn't one of those 2 to 4 big things Jeff Keighley reveals, then it's not going to be there. You know what I mean? So that's something to keep in mind. So those are the 3 big events of the rest. Yeah, like, yeah, there is TGS and like Tokyo Game Show and stuff like that, but I mean, it's not gonna show up there. So in my opinion, those are the 3 big events that still are to come. Obviously, there probably will be a fall/holiday Sony event as well as a Microsoft event, so it could show up there. And then there's always the opportunity of them doing their own thing. I really want to believe, I know this is at the very end, I'm sorry that it went on for so long. I guess to sum it up, but to say it in a different way, I do think we're going to get Hogwarts Legacy stuff this year at some point. I've always felt good about that. I still feel good about that. Is it possible they don't do that and they go into 2022, the year it releases, and they start doing stuff then? Absolutely. I just feel like you could easily show some sort of gameplay trailer or game presentation of something, right, this year. I don't think it would be that difficult, and I think that it could easily be done. I guess maybe Gotham Knights is the game to watch too, because if Gotham Knights gets something big at like DC Fandom, right, and if like maybe a release date and stuff like that, then maybe you look to Hogwarts Legacy next. Maybe Gotham Knights gets like the first crack at showing off more, even though they have shown off more because they got the trailer and the like 11-minute gameplay, right? So we'll have to see how it all goes. But again, I'm very optimistic. I'm always pretty confident and happy with Hogwarts Legacy, right? I don't have too many negative things to say, at least right now. So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think? When do you think we'll see it? Are you disappointed that it wasn't, at any events over the last week? Again, I try to cover the game every 4 or 5 days. That's kind of been actually it's every 5 days is kind of what I've settled on. If there's ever news, if there's ever a leak or a rumor, stuff like that, an interview, I'll be sure to cover it like that day. Again, I have a collaboration, that I'm working on in the background. Interview with Troy, hopefully will come soon. If it doesn't come soon, it will come eventually for sure, but soon, hopefully, right? So we got some big things planned for sure. And again, we really are going to have our time in the light. We're going to have such an amazing, I would say, next like year and a half. So thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you all on the next video.